So I was watching the Brentford Man United game last weekend with my nephew, who's a Man United fan, and 4-0 down at half time, and he turned to me and said, "We should just sell the whole team, get rid of them all." And I thought, yeah, let's give it a try. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. My name is Korky. Thank you very much for joining me. This video is, I suppose, a rebuild. Really, it's a bit more extreme than your standard rebuild. We're not looking to get rid of a couple of players and bring in a couple of players and try and improve the team. We're actually looking to get rid of as many of the players as we possibly can and bring in realistic signings for Man United in this summer transfer window. Quick little bit of housekeeping. We have downloaded the database update from the 3rd of August from Sorted Out SI. So there are some transfers that have already been made for Man United and some that haven't. Just recently today, in fact, actually, the word has come out that Man United have signed Casemiro. We are doing this game without Casemiro, unfortunately. But without further ado, let's have a look at the transfer business first of all. So here we are on the transfer screen in Football Manager 22. As mentioned, it is a database update we've downloaded. We're running this test with. There are some transfers that we have not had to make, the likes of bringing in Martinez, bringing in Christian Eriksen, bringing in Malacia, and so forth. We did miss out on Casemiro because we've done this experiment a little bit too early for that to happen. Therefore, as you will notice, the likes of Sandro Martinez didn't join Man United for 6.25 million. Obviously signed for a lot more than that. But there are some of these transfers that are done already for us, up to and including Raphael Varane in this list. Equally with the outgoing transfers, a lot of them have been done up to Alex Telles as well. And just having a quick look at it, obviously Paul Pogba didn't leave Man United for 86 million. Equally, Andres Pereira didn't leave for 81,000. And the Man U managed didn't leave for 36 million either. So we're going to have a look at the transfers that we have brought in, starting with the incomings with Caligari as a right back. So as we noticed there, we've brought him in for 19.75 million in total. Obviously it is 12.5 and the cost will go up depending on different clauses. First area we wanted to look at was our fullbacks. And then we're going to move into midfield, and then we're going to look at our attacking options and try to improve them as much as we can. Given, first of all, that Varane and Sancho in the game have only just joined the club because it is obviously FM22, the games from last year, we weren't going to sell them because we just couldn't. We did try to sell them, we did transfer list them, but nobody was coming in, which is understandable. They've only just joined the club. No other club is going to try and bid for those players. We also are given an opportunity to Eriksen and Martinez and Malacia because in the database they've just joined the club as well and they haven't had a chance yet in real life with Man United. So first options we signed was Caligari for right back at going up to 19.75. A little bit of perhaps unrealistic this one, Ferland Mendy coming in for 54 million from Real Madrid. He is 25 years of age whenever we signed him. So a little bit older than we expected. He's certainly coming in his prime. I'm a little bit surprised we were able to seal that deal, but we managed to bring him in. We then signed Kalulu from AC Milan for a deal up to 17 million, another promising young right back who was 20 years of age when we signed him. And then we started looking at our midfield options and some of our more attacking options once we had our fullbacks secured. So Samaseku is actually quite a very good player. It's a player I've never heard of, I have to be honest, but we scouted him, we picked him up from Hoffenheim for just under £10 million and actually proved to be quite an important player for us in that defensive midfield role. We then had a look at our wing options. We obviously have Jadon Sancho. We're going to try and sell the rest of our wide men, so we decided to bring in Rafa from Benfica in a deal worth up to 29.5 million. We're also trying to get rid of David De Gea, so we immediately took the opportunity to bring in Livakovic for a deal up to 13 million. We also signed Idrissa Gueye from PSG, maybe a little bit on the expensive side compared to real life, 17.75 million. But again, looking at his stats, he did prove to be a very, very good player and did play a total of 35 games for us. Actually also contributed 5 goals as well. So he proved to be quite important for us. In striker options, we did bring in Dries Mertens on a free transfer. Obviously, he was unattached, having left, I think it was Napoli last year. We went back in to look at our midfield options. We brought in Benacer for up to 28 million, and we brought in Pjanic on loan in a deal of 15 million. There is also a Premier League winning clause there where we would sign him on a permanent deal for 36 million, and we'll come to that in a little bit. So we were pretty shored up in fullbacks and in central midfield. We've signed 4 central midfielders and 3 fullbacks. Looking at our attacking options, we then brought in Patrick Schick as well in a deal worth 39.5 million. Obviously, Dries Mertens, 34 years of age. He's a little bit new old side to be leading the line. Doesn't quite have the physicals. So we struck a deal with Patrick Schick, who came in for 39.5 million, and he's actually proved to be a very, very good player for us. As you can see there, scoring a total of 28 goals and also contributing 8 assists as well. With the attacking and the midfield options secured, we then had a little bit of a look at our defence. Got a little bit wild in the last few days. We did sign players for various different positions, but first and foremost, we needed a central defender. We needed to increase our homegrown registration slots, and we looked at Ezra Konza. I brought him in from Aston Villa for 34.5 million. He actually did prove to be quite an important player for us, and as you can see there, played 41 games in total. I was really expecting him to be more of a backup option, but he did actually prove to be quite worthwhile and very, very reliable. We then brought in Gonzalo Guedes, who obviously has joined Wolves in real life just recently. The emphasis being that he could play in any of the wide options. He could play central attacking midfield, and he could also play as a striker. He's got good pace, good acceleration, and he's very creative as well. We then brought in Vitinha as our kind of young striker option. We weren't expecting to play him as much as what he did, but he did play a total of 28 games. He also contributed 10 goals and 4 assists. A lot of that from the bench as well, but he did prove to be a very, very good player for us. Obviously a 3.5-star potential rating, but he was very dependable when Patrick Schick needed a rest or was injured or suspended or anything like that. So Vitinha turned out to be a very, very good purchase, and at only 17 million for a 21-year-old, I'm very, very pleased with that piece of business. Looking again back in defence, we again needed to increase the homegrown options, so we went back to Aston Villa. We picked up Tyrone Mings for 43.5 million, which is again a little bit on the expensive side. We got him in on deadline day, and just to shore up our defensive options, we also brought in Edouard Quaresma from Sporting CP, and again he was 19 obviously when we signed him. He's 20 years of age now. It's the end of the season, but he did prove to be quite reliable when called upon. Wasn't called upon very often, as you'll see. Played in a total of 5 games across the Premier League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, but he did prove actually to be well worth given a chance to as well, and he only cost 7 million. Definitely one to build on for the future. We did make 2 signings in the January transfer window. We brought in Alex Scott from Bristol City. We needed some midfield options, and we'll explain that in just a few moments. He can play at central midfield, he can play attack in central midfield, and he can also play on the right wing as well. So it did give us a few options. Only played a couple of games, played 4 in total, 3 stars. But he did score, and he did get an assist in those games. And again, increased our homegrown registration numbers as well. We also brought in Thilo Kehrer, a little bit of an injury crisis towards coming in towards the end of January. So we brought in Thilo Kehrer, initially on loan, a 4 million fee agreed as a mandatory fee in the future. So all in all, that's the business we brought in. We've brought in a total of 18 players. So we have 16 of them in the summer transfer window, 4 of them in the January transfer window. So we're very, very pleased with the business we brought in. Now the business we've sort of sent out, I guess you would call it, we were very busy with that as well. Obviously Alex Telles has already left for Sevilla. So the first piece of business we were able to do was get Phil Jones out, 2.9 million. I'm actually very pleased with that. Phil Jones, still a decent player, still good, decent statistics, but he's 30 years of age, 29 years of age at the time of selling. We needed to get him out. Tuanzebe wasn't really in the plans. we transfer listed everybody on the first day. We got a bid almost instantly for Tuanzebe. A deal up to 8.75 million. We thought we can't say no to this, so he left. On the same, in fact, the very next day, actually, Eric Bailly also left us on a deal worth 12.75 million. So RB Leipzig have done us a little bit of a favour there. They've taken 2 players off our hands and they've gave us 21.5 million in total once those deals are complete. We also sold Brandon Williams to Lille for 6 million. The fans weren't entirely happy about that, which made me a little bit unhappy because he's not really up to Man United standards. He's a good player, he's English, he can play left and right. He's not really the player that United need. Now I think his time has come, and him leaving Man United in real life will be better for himself. I don't think he's going to make it into the United team as a regular. We did manage to sell Luke Shaw for 28 million to PSG. Again, maybe just at the right age. He was 25 when we sold him. He's got good statistics. Liga is probably the right level for him. Maybe I'm just being a little harsh on that. We then managed to sell Anthony Martial to Shakhtar for 12 million. Lord only knows how we managed to sell Harry Maguire for 30 million to Newcastle, but a little bit more about that later. Probably the biggest surprise of all was selling Lindelof to Real Madrid at all, but to sell him for 21.5 million. We were not going to say no to that. So as soon as the bid came in, we accepted it and off he went. We did try to sell Ronaldo. Ronaldo did prove to be the most difficult player to sell, along with David De Gea, mainly because of the wages they earn. We did offer him out for 0 transfer fee. Again, he obviously joined the club last season. We offered him for 0. PSG offered 0. The board wouldn't accept it. We eventually negotiated on 6.25 million. So Ronaldo left us. He's off to PSG. He can go annoy them. That's fine. We did loan Scott McTominay initially to Newcastle for a fee of £1 million. As you can see here, he is joining for 13.5 million at the end of the season. And as we will see here, he had a clause in his contract. If he plays 20 games, the transfer is made permanent. He played 29, so all's well. That ends well. We then sold Donny van de Beek to Dortmund for 17.75 million. Again, taking a massive cut on a player. But we didn't even care how much we were selling players for. We just wanted him gone, and away he went. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a couple of bids from Everton came in. They weren't good enough. Some we accepted. One of them the board wouldn't accept. We eventually managed to sell him to Everton for £26 million, which, to be fair, I'm absolutely ecstatic with that. I really am, because I really didn't think he was going to be a player we would sell at any great value. Fred, we managed to sell to Norwich for 11.25 million. Obviously, in real life financial terms, we've taken a massive hit on Fred because he signed for Man United for 60 million. But we got offered 11.25 million, and we took it, and he joined. We actually had to have a little bit of a discussion with Fred because he didn't want to join. Every time Norwich made a bid, we accepted it. He rejected the contract. We had to tell him, "You're not in our plans. We will freeze you out," and eventually he left us. The biggest transfer we did make was selling Marcus Rashford to Bayern Munich. Now obviously Rashford comes with a high reputation, high potential ability, and very good statistics as well. We were trying to sell him. The board wanted to sell him for 100 million or 90 million, whatever his sort of value was. It wasn't happening. Nobody was offering anywhere near that money. Somehow we managed to get 62 million out of Bayern Munich, and we took it, and away it goes. David De Gea, that was on deadline day. David De Gea was on deadline day as well. We accepted a 12 million bid from Valencia. We need to get him out the door. Wages off the books, and away he went. And then finally on deadline day, Diogo Dalot, we didn't manage to sell him, but we did manage to get him out on loan to Crystal Palace. He did play quite a number of games before he had quite a lengthy injury spell. He's currently out between 5 to 8 months, and that was just recently. So he will come back to us in the summer. We will try and move him on then. The only bit of outgoing business in January, other than a few loans, was Lazio offered Dries Mertens a contract. We did offer him a 1-year contract. Lazio offered him a year contract. He agreed to terms. We asked him to do an early transfer. They accepted it. Away he went. That was one of our registration slots made available, whereupon we brought in then Alex Scott to fill that gap. So that is it for the transfer business. Now looking at the numbers we brought in, we have a total here of 473 in, 473 spent, 404 coming in. In real terms, this does include the likes of Varane, Sancho, etc., and this phantom 86 million for Pogba and phantom 36 million for Matic. In terms of the players we have signed, we have actually spent a total of 397.25 million. We have recouped 258.15 million. So we've actually spent a lot more than what it looks like from this screen. But we will be looking to sell on some players in the summer transfer window as well. So that's it for the transfers. We will have a look at the competitions and see how we get on with that. So before we look at competitions and progress that we made, just very quickly, the sort of the main formations that we used. We've used this one, the Sandman, which is a test you can find over on the tactics testing video that we created. It's quite a defensive-minded, sort of slow, positive build-up. It plays with Samaseku in defensive midfield. We do get forward down the left quite a bit, more attacking on our left-hand side. We played mainly with this. This would be pretty much our strongest first 11. We have Varane, Konza at centre-back, Mendy and Kalulu at full-back, Samaseku defensive midfield, Benacer, Bruno Fernandes in central midfield, Sancho and Rafa on the wings, and Patrick Schick up front. Should note as well, Bruno Fernandes was the only player that we weren't able to actively sell who has been at the club before the beginning of last season. He was valued at over 100 million and nobody was interested in buying him, but we kept him and things worked out pretty well with him. The other formation we used then is the two aces, which is one that I use quite a lot in most of my saves. The only difference there being that we would have Vitinha and Schick up front, and we would rotate Benacer with Samaseku and also with Idrissa Gueye as well. So that's the formation that we used mainly. If we're looking at the progress we made, start small first. As you'll notice here, Carabao Cup final, I should say. We got to the final against Man City. Absolutely delighted, obviously, to get that length. But if you look at the bar graphs, if you look at the stats, it didn't go well. We lost 3-1. We were 2-0 down in the first 15 minutes. We pulled a goal back just after half time, but then Jack Grealish scored shortly after that, and it was pretty much game over. As you can see, Man City did dominate, more shots, more on target, much higher XG, and obviously less off target as well. In terms of possession, they dominated us 57-43. So whilst it was disappointing to lose that game, to come away with a silver medal is pretty pleasing. And based on the stats, we can't say that we didn't deserve to lose. We didn't deserve to win the game, and that's exactly how it went. So pleased to have got to the final, disappointed to have lost it, but given the way the game went, really it's a fair result. In the FA Cup, we got to the 5th round where we were put out by eventual winners Liverpool. As you can see there, we drew away with Liverpool. They beat us 1-0. And as you see, goal coming in the second half. This game maybe a little bit more evenly balanced than the Carabao Cup final was with Man City. Liverpool had the better of the chances, had a higher XG, one shot less on target, a little bit more of the possession. A 1-0 result in Liverpool's favour again was a pretty fair result. Playing the game, trying to make the changes and things like that. We played okay. We played pretty well, but we just didn't have that final step or final 2 steps to really get us over the line. They beat us 1-0. We can come away with our heads held high. Disappointing to go out in the 5th round, but against the eventual winners, it's okay. It's fine. As we mentioned, we are playing with the database update that was created from the 3rd of August. Unfortunately, we didn't load in the league changes as well. I did forget to download that, unfortunately. So Man Utd are playing Champions League football this year. Obviously, they're not in real life, but we went into the Group E, along with Villarreal, Porto, and Club Brugge. We came out top of that group with 14 points, undefeated, 4 wins, 2 draws. We got to the knockout stages, and as you'll see here, we lost on penalties to Atalanta. A little bit of a kick in the teeth. We were 1-0 down after the first leg away in Italy. As you'll see here, we did dominate them. We are at home in the second leg. We did dominate them quite heavily. We won the tie 2-1. Patrick Schick scored 26th minute. It went to extra time. Bruno Fernandes scored a penalty. Malinowski equalised 2 minutes later. As you can see, it went to penalty shootout. Fernandes, Eriksson, Sancho, Benacer all scoring. Malinowski, Maranchik, Freuler, Ferrari, and Valzania all scoring for Atalanta. Muriel missed for Atalanta, and then Alanga, and then Lisandro Martinez missing the crucial penalty. We went out on a penalty shootout. But as I say, looking at the stats, we had 26 shots to their 5. We had 15 on target to their 4. 3.41 XG to 0.52. We really should have wrapped that game up in the 90 minutes. So disappointing to go out in the Champions League knockout stages, first round of the knockout stages, to Atalanta. I feel like we probably should have got past that round. And as you'll see here, Atalanta went on to play Inter Milan. Maybe we might have fancied it. Who knows? We might have got even a little step further. But again, with an awful lot of games going on at the same time, so not too bad. Now, the Premier League is the big one. The Premier League is the one that matters. It's obviously the one that the fans will want. And as you can see here, from the Premier League, we finished in 3rd place behind Liverpool and Man City. This actually turned out to be a little bit disappointing. We were doing pretty well. We weren't really in a title race for a long time. We were putting results together. And there is a turning point, which I'll show you in just a few moments. But we finished 5 points off joint top. 6 points would have won us the league. As you can see here, we lost games to Chelsea, the Spurs, Crystal Palace, who you should have beat, Newcastle, who you should have beat, Man City and Liverpool. You could say maybe we could have, maybe we couldn't have. We did beat Liverpool in the Premier League as well as losing to them as well. And obviously, as you'll see there, we beat Man City in the Premier League as well as losing to them. There are a few games that we drew. We drew with Wolves, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Brighton. All those games, I really feel we should have done better. And we're going to look at the results now, and we'll show you just how those games went. So as we mentioned, we started the season pretty good. In fact, we beat Everton. We drew with Arsenal in the last minute. Bruno Fernandes 90+2. We beat Leeds 2-1. We beat Chelsea 4-0 at home, which is a fantastic result. We beat Brentford away 1-0, which is really where this video started from. So pleasing to get that result. We then played Liverpool, and as you can see here, Virgil van Dijk 90+2 minutes. He scored the winner. We probably should have got a draw out of that if we could have just held on. Not an awful lot happened. 76 minutes, Liverpool went ahead. 5 minutes later, we equalised. And then injury time is when Liverpool won it. We then played against Man City. We were beat pretty comfortably 3-1. Bruno Fernandes sent off in the first minute. Did us absolutely no favours whatsoever. We followed that up with a 4-1 win against Southampton. We then had a 0-0 draw with Brighton, which, as mentioned, we probably should have won that. We then beat Leicester 3-0. Again, we had a man sent off. This time it was Caligari in the 50th minute. We then followed that up with a 3-2 win against West Ham, where we were fortunately the recipients of the last time winner. You can see Ezra Konza in the 90+3 to give us the 3 points there. Similar thing happened against Wolves in the next game. This time it was Samaseku scored in the 90+1, gave us the 3 points. Somewhat inexplicably, we lost 6-2 to Newcastle. We'll show you the league table in a few moments. You'll notice that Newcastle did get relegated this season, so that is actually a massively disappointing result. As you can see, again, Bruno Fernandes sent off in the 13th minute. That has cost us massively as well. Picked up a little bit of form in the next 2 games. We scored 9 goals against Watford and Aston Villa before going to Crystal Palace, where again, in injury time, another goal conceded to lose the 3 points. Again, very, very disappointing. We then played against Spurs, who again, in the last minute, we just can't seem to defend for the full game. It's become a bit of a theme in stoppage time. We can see goals to either lose or draw games. We can see there, Bentancur scored in the 90+4. We really should have seen that game out and picked up the 3 points. We did, however, pick up a little bit of form. Went on a bit of a run then. We beat Burnley, we beat Norwich, we beat Southampton, we beat Man City 2-0, which was absolutely fantastic. We beat Leicester 1-0, we beat Brighton 3-0, we beat Norwich 4-1, and then we played Spurs again. And this time it wasn't quite injury time, but quite late on. Harry Kane scored in the 81st minute to give them the 2-1 victory. We then played against Arsenal and we beat them 3-0. Played against Everton, beat them 3-1. Played against Burnley, beat them 5-2. Played against Crystal Palace, beat them 6-1, which, as mentioned, we shouldn't have let that happen earlier part of the season. And this is the key stage. This is the point where we actually lost the league title. At the end of March, just before the international break, we played Aston Villa. We were 3-0 up, or 3-1 up, sorry, going into half time. Danny Ings scored in the 53rd minute. Again, we couldn't hold on, and Sandro scored in the 70th minute. Aston Villa equalised. We've lost 2 points, and that was the start of a little bit of a bad spell. We then played Newcastle at home this time. Again, somewhat inexplicably, we couldn't beat them. We dominated the game, so we did. We see there, Pjanic scored a penalty in injury time, so we rescued a point from that game. And then we played against Wolves, and nothing happened. There's nothing to report in that game. We lost another 2 points there. We turned it around after that. We beat West Ham 3-0. We beat Watford 2-0. We beat Leeds 3-0. We beat Liverpool 2-0. We then lost to Chelsea 3-1 away, which was a disappointing game. We did lose Sancho to injury in that. And at that stage, we were really in a position where we were more than 3 points away from second place, more than 3 points away from fourth place. We couldn't go anywhere. We played Brentford in the last game, rested a few of the first team regulars, gave some of the younger players a chance, and we came away with a 1-0 victory. So really, it's in this little spell at the end of March, beginning of January, where it has cost us the league title, really. You know, those are 6 points dropped. Those 6 points would have been enough to win us the league. You could look at other results, such as the draw with Spurs, where we've dropped 2 points, where Spurs have equalised in the last minute. Again, Crystal Palace, before that, they've scored a winner in the last minute. And against Liverpool, they scored a winner in the last minute as well. So that is how this season has ended. We finished in third position, 6 points off winning the league. That little run of 3 games in end of March, beginning of April. If we had got the wins we expected to get from that, we would have won the league, which would have been incredible. As noted, Newcastle have been relegated, so to lose 6-2 to them at the early part of the season, and then to draw with them 1-1 in the later part of the season, especially in that little run of games, is a little bit of a kick in the teeth, to be honest. But we've managed to do it. We've managed to sell as many of the players as we possibly could. We ended up selling 16 in total. We managed to bring in 16 players. We managed to bring in 18 players in total. We managed to sell, we sold 16, loaned 1. One of the players we brought in, we did sell him in January as well. So it is possible with the right players that Man United could possibly turn their fortunes around. I think the signing of Casemiro is going to be an important signing for them. I think it's going to be a very good signing. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's the right move for Casemiro. He is only 30 years of age. He's still got a good few years ahead of him. I think he should have come to the Premier League a few years ago. And at that stage, probably United would have been the club he would have joined. And they might have been a little bit of a better standing and had some success since then. But it is what it is. That is it for this video. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you are doing a Man United rebuild of your own, please let me know how you're getting on with it. You can, of course, as always, click that subscribe button below. You will be kept up to date with all the latest videos, including our tactics testing season and including our Life After Lasso AFC Richmond season as well. The new season of Ted Lasso is due to be released soon on TV. I'm very, very excited to see that. But we are running a football manager simulation with the club as well. That's it from now. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. We will be back with more rebuilds in the future. Until then, thank you and take care. Hi guys, thanks for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do hit that subscribe button. It helps us to bring you more videos like this in the future. In the meantime, you can watch one of these recommended videos and we will see you in the next one. Thanks again and take care.